Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and this is the Trade War SITREP. You probably have caught the news by now. The Chinese actually saw no DPA's Trade War SITREP yesterday, and they got triggered when I say that they don't dare to raise the tariff in retaliation with the American increase. So they have now increased to 125%. So this basically matches the Americans' tariff at 125% as well. The only difference is that the Americans have another 20% on China. Basically, the 20% is for the fentanyl crisis, and this is actually a bit of a surprising thing because I always wonder why China don't raise that 20% as well, because the Chinese actually have said that this punitive tariff over the fentanyl crisis is unjust. And the Chinese think that this is unfair, and United States should deal with their own problem rather than blaming another country. But yet the Chinese actually never match or apply that 20% tariff back, even at this time of this trade war. They only match as per the tariff starting from the reciprocal tariff situation. So now the Chinese have raised to 125, and so far at this moment, after like more than 24 hours already, the Americans don't dare to raise further. The Americans are cowards. They don't dare to raise further. The Chinese have raised, then the Americans did nothing. So cowards. So so you know how this works now. So yeah, so the people who criticized yesterday on the SITREP, they say, I was wrong being anti-China or whatnot. The reality, as per the recording, was the fact that the Chinese did not raise it. They didn't raise for one full day. So then they raised after that, which I then reported this on the DPA news channel. The 125% I already actually reported in a separate channel. So actually, if you want to catch other news, because this is the SITREP, this is a summary of all the things that happened across a day or 2 days or whatnot. So if you want the breaking news, the breaking important news, do follow me on DPA news channel. Just go to YouTube and search DPA news. You will probably see the channel appearing. For the people watching on Rumble, it doesn't matter. It's all on the same channel. So there's only one channel in that sense. So but coming back to this, the Spanish. So another major thing that happened was the meeting between Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, and the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez in Beijing. So the important thing to note about the Spanish is that Spain is very pro-China, and they have reached a point where Donald Trump's team, including Donald Trump, has been calling Spain out, and they have been warning Spain against joining BRICS, as well as going to side with China in the trade war. So and actually Spain themselves actually have a lot of clashes with other European Union countries over the China issue, because many of the Spanish partners, the Spain's partner countries, wanted more protection against Chinese goods. However, Spain is the one that is constantly fighting for China in the European Union. So this meeting is not a surprising thing, but definitely something to look out for, an important geopolitical move that the Spanish might be trying to do some geopolitical move to put to stick a certain claim, or to move in a way that puts Spain back on the world map, because Spain has basically lost its empire status for a long time now, and maybe this with China against European Union whatnot, there might be some kind of thing that can help Spain become more than whatever they are right now. But of course, this is just speculation. Don't take this too seriously. Don't write in the comments, hate comments about this. I'm just saying there is definitely certain considerations why Spain wants to get closer to China instead of working together with the European Union as a collective bloc. and even at the expense of expense of no attracting the wrath of the Americans. So no, this is something very interesting to watch. So no, as this is a trade war, I want to also highlight that the trade war actually there's also another trade war that is actually between the European Union and China. So this is not this trade, the Europeans and the Chinese actually have already been crossing swords for some time now. The only thing that people are not entirely aware is because the Americans largely always have no tariff. So there is basically nothing to argue about. Until the Trump's first term where they slapped the tariff on China, that was the first main tariff that Americans have, generally speaking, against any other country. So there is no dispute, you don't see trade war regarding the United States much, except for that time with China. But the European Union themselves actually has constantly been fighting the Chinese. They have been raising problems regarding that. So I have added the EU versus China historical timeline. And the EU first sounded the alarm in 2018. So this and this comes after the Chinese have already been in the world market for like 10-20 years. So why is this is that they're scrutinizing Chinese investment in strategic sector, and by 2019 they have labeled Chinese as a systemic rival. You might find this a bit familiar if you have been watching these few videos. Like I always say that China is incompatible with the global system. That's why it's a systemic rival. It's a problem. The Chinese entered WTO, agreeing to follow WTO rules, or the world whatever trade rules, that they are supposed to follow. However, China said yes, we'll follow, but end up they never followed. And all the countries around the world did not really go after China regarding this, because everybody wanted access into this massive market in China, a massive consumer market, which is not much of a massive consumer market per se, but it's just that there's a massive population. So there's a lot of potential. So everybody wants a piece of the pie. But 10-20 years later down the road, China still have not reformed. And this of course lead to what we see, which is now this labeling of the systemic rival, as they realize that this market distortion and trade imbalances is really causing a problem for European Union. And so by 2020 they have this agreement and negotiations, but then did not work out, and then they started to pressure China on Xinjiang issue. Until today, I still feel like the Xinjiang issue is like a not here, not there situation. Like I don't fully believe in the Xinjiang thingy. Like there is definitely actions done by the Chinese in Xinjiang to try to assimilate the population. But to say massacre, to say mass prisoning or whatever, re-education camps, it's really I find it a bit of a stretch. I find it like it's more propaganda than anything. So of course the Chinese retaliate in terms of that. And by 2022, the trade imbalance between China and European Union is already at 396 billion euros. So it's already huge, and EU have no choice but to introduce foreign subsidies regulation to counter the China state firms. And it's important to note, almost every big Chinese firm, almost every very big ones are all state firms. Like they are all at least backed or funded or supported by the Chinese government. So there is probably some rare instance of exception. Like I think Alibaba itself wasn't really that backed by the Chinese government, but now it's already absorbed by the Chinese government. So like Ma Yun already lost, Jack Ma already lost his his real power over Alibaba. Anyway, and now by late 2022, there is concerns over capacity of China, over solar panels and batteries, and EU was trying to investigate it. By mid 2023, EU have launched anti-subsidy probe again, and this time now targeting the EVs, the electric vehicles, and citing unfair state support. Like I say, many of these things I already say before, but a lot of people, you guys write in the comments, saying that these are just propaganda and whatnot. These are not propaganda. This is real shit. If it's fake, there is no real need for EU to get so concerned, like get so fed up by all these things. That is true. It all this exists. These are all unfair measures. Give state support is not like not a new thing. Every country try to give grants, try to help to build up their industries. But for China's case, it's immense. Is the level of fundings and whatnot is to destroy the world market, to conquer the whole world market. That level kind of investment. So it's a totally different level, to the point where the EU basically have to continue to do protection. And by October 2023, there is already tariff proposed on Chinese EV, ranging between 7.8% to 35%, but proposed, not implemented yet. And then China initiated anti-dumping probes in November into EU brandy and pork, targeting France and Spain to exploit EU divisions. So this is definitely just retaliatory against the Chinese EV thingy. And by early 2024, last year, the tariff take effect, averaging between 25 to 35%. So the trade war starts between EU and China. And as you can see, these things have evolved over the years. This is a brewing trade war. It's very slow burn. But the trade war is there. The main thing is that the EU cannot take on the Chinese alone. That is so and Americans is just free trade all the way. So it's not easy for the European unions to deal with the Chinese on their own anyway. And so by June they hold high level dialogue to try to talk about the tariff. Clearly little progress, because they are never going to get into agreement. China want lesser or no tariff. EU needs the tariff to protect their industry. So this never going to go anywhere. And then by September, China proposes minimum price scheme for EV to avoid tariff. But this is a proposal. EU not entirely sure about that. And then so by October 2024, they strengthened anti-coercion measures to counter Chinese retaliatory tariff. So signaling readiness to escalate. So as much as we all talk about the trade war between the United States and China right now, talking about how Donald Trump suddenly become very fierce, want to bring the whole world to collapse. Tariffing is not new. Trade war has already existed between EU and China, and again the target is China. Why is it China? The thing is, it's easy to say, China is a massive military threat or whatnot, but it's not. It's not exactly that, because EU is like not really the kind of a military problem. The main problem is more like Russia. So this thing have escalated, and now I have this new box here, which is the European Union versus China, and this is the 2025 one, which with a bit more detail. So just now the historical one is a bit more of the broad picture. And so the latest that we have, because with all these things, there's a lot of details. You can actually go to the website yourself. The link is here. The link is right there. Yeah, there. You can defensepoliticsasia.com/trade-war. You can just read yourself. It should be a fun read. Comparing all the notes between all the different sides. I think it's interesting. So the latest we have is, because China now is on the back foot. People don't believe that China is on the back foot. So but China is on the back foot, and they are now looking for European Union. They are rival in the trade war. They are systemic rival. China is looking for what EU calls the systemic rival, to work together against United States. And Ursula von der Leyen has spoken to Li Qiang, the Chinese premier, and trying to talk talk about these things. But the biggest concern right now for EU is the worry of Chinese dumping, goods dumping. So the issue right now is this. Let me show you. The issue. So Ursula von der Leyen have told the Chinese that they need to address their overcapacity issue. And in my other video, I have reported, the 1 trillion trade surplus video about China's 1 trillion trade surplus. I already mentioned the Chinese cannot, they literally cannot reduce their trade. They must overproduce. They must increase trade at all costs. They must. There is no other options. They must do it. So this attempt to ask them to address overcapacity issue is not going to work. China is not going to address the overcapacity issue. This is literally life and death for China. So they're not going to do it. And and by the past 24 hours, as the Chinese announced 125% tariff on US goods, the EU is now on high alert. Because the worry right now is with 125% tariff and 145% the other way, Chinese goods will not be able to go to United States anymore. There will be literally no trade by this point. Although the percentage can still go up further, and or a literal declaration of no embargo, tentatively not yet. But by this percentage, basically China and United States cannot trade anymore. So now the EU's fear is the Chinese goods that were supposed to go to United States will start to flood Europe. And if you look at if you search the news, you will probably see that the European Union is super worried right now regarding the potential goods dumping on Europe. And so far EU is holding this position, like they are talking to China, probably is to use China as a leverage against United States in the future negotiations with United States. So EU and China have agreed to restart negotiation on the EV minimum price scheme as an alternative to the EU tariff. But there's no deadline for conclusions. So EU basically agrees to restart, I think. But basically as a leverage, I believe, against the United States. However, as per the historical ones you already seen, the EU don't really they don't really believe in it. So this minimum price thing, versus the tariff thing, yeah, clearly the minimum price is going to be lower than tariff, 100%. Like, definitely China is not going to negotiate something that is worse than what the tariff is. So which means that any negotiation on this minimum price scheme is just simply EU giving more space to China. So will EU do it? I have my doubts, especially once they start to negotiate with Donald Trump, and I believe that what Donald Trump wants from EU will be to shut China out. Then then this confirmed is a no-go. And I believe the EU will play along. Why? Because they are already systemic rivals. And why United States is fighting China right now? Because they are also a systemic rival. They are literally a existential threat. Because of the economic, the trade problems, systemic problem with China having China within the global system for United States. So these are all linked. Which is why I started adding this in, and of course, I have also added the European Union versus China brewing, because it's starting to look like European Union will start to play a bigger role. Become a bigger actor within this drama, as the USA and China tariff, counter tariff thing becomes stupid, and that's what it is. The Chinese actually announced that they will no longer react to any further increase from United States, because the China's position right now is that the tariffing has effectively made it impossible to import American goods. So the Chinese do not feel like there's any more logical sense to play along this game of increasing the tariff. Chinese say that this is going to be, in economic history, is going to be a joke. Yeah, but the thing is, I think Donald Trump will still increase it. This is what I think, because Donald Trump like a joke. He like to crack jokes, and he's probably going to increase just as a joke, because like I said before, in my projection, the aim of Donald Trump is to cut trade. Actually, that was supposed to be in another one, is the China invasion projection. I did mention that the Donald Trump's most likely aim, I believe. This I already said it on the 7th of April. That I believe the Trump administration want to cut trade with China entirely, and of course, eventually they will want to force everybody to do the same. And so by now it's already 75% chance that the trade between United States and China will be cut totally. Effectively, it's already like mostly gone, mostly gone by now. So so we shall see how this continue to play out, and we will start to, if there is no drama in this sense between China and United States, we'll probably start to see the drama and start to move towards the rest of the trade partners. Example, EU, Vietnam, Mexico, Canada, all these countries will start to enter the picture more. Because the negotiations between Trump and these countries will start to begin, and we'll probably know much more from then on. So the Xi Jinping also made a statement, and this is targeting the Europeans. So China and Europe should fulfill their international responsibilities and jointly resist unilateral bullying practices. So this is spoken during when he met with the Spanish Prime Minister. Although I find it really interesting. Again, they were in a trade war, or still in a trade war with the European Union, just a very, very low level one. The Europeans have problem with the Chinese. Now they try to while the Europeans and the Americans are not at the best relationship, China try to cut it in and try to divide and conquer. Very interesting attempt, although a bit blatant about it. I think it's a bit too obvious. I'm not sure the problem if the European leaders are so stupid. I'm not sure if they will catch it. The European divisions regarding Russia and the Ukraine war really put my faith in the European leaders very, very poorly. So I'm not sure how the Europeans will react. Will they really become so stupid and take side with China, and then totally disregard their systemic rival? They call China systemic rival themselves. Systemic rival. They themselves call it systemic rival. It's not me. So and then if they're gonna side with China, they're gonna screw themselves. It's just very, very bizarre situation. So anyway, on top of that, there is also news, as also reported during the 135% tariff news that I said. The Xi Jinping, the leader of China, will be visiting the Southeast Asia. He'll be visiting Vietnam, Cambodia, and Malaysia. So Vietnam, Cambodia, is, especially Cambodia, is the closest friend for China right now in Southeast Asia. As Cambodia, Cambodia's economy is basically fully powered by China right now, and Vietnam is the biggest recipient of exported factories. The factories that left China, a lot of them went to Vietnam, for a variety of reasons. Some is for diversification reasons. The others are because of manpower costs in China is rising. So which is why they went to Vietnam. So, and then Malaysia is the most progressive right now within Southeast Asia because of the new Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. And Anwar Ibrahim also signals because Malaysia right now is the chair for ASEAN. Malaysia have proposed that no, we can negotiate with United States as a bloc, as Southeast Asian Association, the ASEAN, with United States. And so far, I think that is not going to work out. They have already met and they already decided that there is no retaliation against United States. So, but Xi Jinping is going to talk to the Malaysian Prime Minister for sure, and then he's probably going to try to get Malaysia, along with Vietnam and Cambodia, on China's side to fight with United States, and hopefully via Malaysia, Vietnam, and Cambodia, influence the entire South ASEAN, or at least create a big divide within ASEAN, to deal with to fight against the Americans. I think this is not going to work out as well, because ultimately it comes back to the same old problem. You are the seller, you are the one that is trying to sell goods to the buyer, which the buyer is America, is United States. The seller argue and fight with the buyer will never work out, because the buyer is the one that decides whether to buy or not. So as much as people keep telling me that that certain goods, certain things, certain drugs is only sold by China, but that doesn't mean that United States will not tolerate some pain in the short term and then try to emergency develop the capacity to build their own or produce their own. And I mean, COVID-19 already proved that is possible. When countries are desperate, they can do a lot of magic. Those that struggles more are smaller countries like Singapore. We struggle a lot to find new suppliers when other countries suddenly stop trade with us during the COVID. So end up we have to explore the world to find new markets or new sellers. That is the Singapore situation. But for United States, it's like a entirely different situation. United States is a very big country. So if Russia can survive it, United States can survive it. So I just want to put it clearly. If Russia can survive the sanction regime, by the entire collective West, over the Ukraine war, United States is going to survive not trading with China. But anyway, we shall see how this play out. So that's the situation report for the past past day. Very, very interesting developments. United States right now have not retaliate against China's retaliation. So United States is a freaking coward right now. Freaking losers. So yeah, so Trump don't dare to raise anymore. Lousy. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Press the like button, subscribe. We're going for 100,000, and also of course, like I said, subscribe to the DPA News channel, because any breaking news I will post it there, not here. And I'll see you guys in the next update.